Good morning, student. Today we are going to discuss about AEX 201 Communication Skill and Personality Development course. This course today we are going to discuss about the listening. Already we discussed the listening skills, how to improve our effective listening skill during our practical session. In this theory class, we have to add little bit more than what we learned during our practical classes. So first of all, you have to understand the meaning of the listening. What is listening? Listening is understand what we hear the natural response of a human being when hearing a sound. அதாவது நமக்கு எப்பயாவது சத்தங்கள் கேட்கும் பொழுது அதை நம்ம ரெஸ்பாண்ட் பண்ணுறோம் இல்லையா, தட் இஸ் கால்ட் லிசனிங். The human being வந்து ஒரு சவுண்ட் கேட்டானே have to respond immediately. That particular point will be noted as a listening. So listening is a necessary skill for our day-to-day communications, and it is in a habit of our as usual life. So lot of definition is there. So we have to refer our reading material. In this, the lot of definition is there, and even an important definition is to ability to understand the spoken language. So listening, the definition is ability to understand a spoken language, whether it's in English, whether it's in Tamil, or whether it's Spanish, whatever it may be. To understand the spoken language is called as listening. So what are the different types of listening? One is the sympathetic listening, another is empathic listening. Sympathetic listening have to some sympathic creation, some person having some illness or happiness. So sympathetic you have to make the listen on the particular person. Empathic is beyond the sympathetic. You have to take care more of the person to understand what he feel. That's empathic listening. And evaluate listening. Evaluate listening is the person has to say something, and have to evaluate whether we make the judgment whether it's a good or bad, and or it's a worthy or unworthy. Have to make some evaluate based on the person speaking, based on the person what they said. Have to hear and take the listening skill is called evaluate listening. And appreciate listening. Appreciate listening means have to appreciate the what you listen, what you hear. So for example, the music. Suppose the A.R. Rahman giving the music, and I have to appreciate the music. Or you have to hearing the match, or you have to listen the match, and you have to appreciate the match. That's called appreciate listening. And the comprehension listening. Comprehension listening is most of the content listening. So content listening is if you are watching the TV news. So if you are listening the news, the content may be differ from each and every topic in the news. So the content, if you are know about the content, if your concentration will be increases based on the content of the listening. So it's called a content listening, and comprehensive listening. And another is a critical listening. Critical listening is most of probably is a evaluate listening, whether it's a good or bad, or the message will be worthy or unworthy. Have to make a decision, and that's listening is called a critical listening. Another is a biased listening. Biased listening have to make some own preconception, ideas about, and you have to make the biased, and have to then when இது வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு முடிவு பண்ணிட்டு based on the person opinion of the person, you have to decide whether you have to listen or not. So what are the guidelines of the listening? So what are the guidelines? Stop talking. Stop talking when the person is speaking. If you are improving your listening skill, you have to stop within yourself, with nearby the person. So classical பக்கத்தில் பேசுறது இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் have to stop the listening, stop the talking, then have to improve your listening skill and pay attention to the speaker. So நம்மளோட attention அதிகப்படுத்தும் போது have to improve our listening skill. And read the non-verbal cues. Another version, ask questions. During the session, you have to improve listening skill. You have to ask questions. So you may be connecting with your speaker or presenter. So your listening skill improved based on the skill of asking questions. And don't interrupt. Interrupt means if this person is speaking, have to unnecessarily have to not interrupt it, So you have to, if you are interrupted, no, then what will happen? The speaker will be disturbed, so the message will not be conveyed to you properly. And open your mind. So your mind will be open. Have to observe what they're speaking. Then they have listening skill will be improved. And paraphrase. And paraphrase means have to hear the message and have to convert the message in your own language, in your own understanding. If you are speaking in the person speaking English, you have to understand the message in English and convert to your own convenience language, so it will be improve your memory. Okay. Then the barriers to listening. What are the barriers to listening? So selective listening, um, that's a preconceptions. சில சில விஷயங்கள் சில பேர் பேசுறது பிடிக்கும் அப்படிங்கும்போது யூ ஹாவ் டு மேக் சம் ப்ரீகன்செப்ஷன். இது வேணும் இது வேண்டாம், நம்ம ஹாவ் டு டேக் த ப்ரீகன்செப்ஷன்ஸ் பிஃபோர் த லிசனிங். ஸோ அதாவது ப்ரீகன்செப்ஷன் ஐ ஹாவ் டு ஐடென்டிஃபைட் இன் பெட்டர் ஏர்லியர், தென் யுவர் லிசனிங் ஸ்கில் வில் பி improved. And the talking speed. So when the speaker is speaking more speed, you cannot able to understand what you are listening, will be disturbed. So you have to maintain your understanding the speaker's speed. And the lack of interest, already I explained. And the beliefs and attitudes and reactions to speaker, the word we hear, and physical distractions. Physical distraction is a distractions made by the physically in the classroom or in the listening area. These are all the different barriers. And finally, what you will discuss in this listening classroom, first you have to hear. So the hearing is the when you are the speaker or whatever, maybe the sound will be disturbed. Sound will be here in your through your ear. So first you have to hear the message. Then you have to attend. Make sure attending on your what you hear. Then you have to understand, and you have to responding and keeping remember in your mind. These are all the main factors in understanding and listening. So listening is a natural process. It's not an artificial one. It's a natural process like breathing. So you have to understand the listening and improve the listening. And based on the listening, you have to keep your message and keep it in your mind for a long period. So in this class, I send this lecture notes and as well as two more videos related to the improve the listening skills. Please see, and I have to answer the questions, and you have to submit the questions before the next theory classes. Okay, thank you. Bye.